I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Laverne Planning Commission October 31st, 2017 regular meeting at 6 p.m. We do have a quorum. Our first item is to approve the meeting minutes from the September 26, 2017 regular meeting.
Make a motion to accept as submitted.
We have a motion to accept.
Second.
And a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It's passed. First item under old business, number 3, site plan requested by Father Cheram Khalil, proposed parking lot, property located at 181 Cherokee Drive, tax map 017C, Group E, parcel 11.03, R1 Low Density Residential Zoning District, property owned by Archangel Michael Coptic Orthodox Church. Mr. Logan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Several of you are familiar with this site and the church. They did go to Boza a month ago and received a special exception to operate the church at the 181 address on Cherokee Drive. And this is next door to the current site where the church is. And there had been discussion over the summer back and forth about would they combine the two and make it one parcel or would they not. So finally, it was decided that they could ask for that special exception. So that was granted last month and has been taken care of. So the site plan before you is only for a parking lot. There's no buildings involved, and all the technical items were addressed. I know last month we talked about the sidewalk, and they did put in a sidewalk a few years ago when they expanded on their current site at 173, I think it is. And so they've shown that on the plans, and they've extended the sidewalk. So there were several technical comments related to that have been taken away, and they did submit a landscape plan with the numbers of plantings and the locations and the type of tree and type of shrub that they would use. So that's also in your plans. And the stormwater comments, I met with Kyle Brown this morning at 11, and I know he's worked with the applicant and had some meetings with them and telephone conversations, and it appears those items are in order. Other than that, I think that's all of the conditions, and there's no conditions left on the report. So thank you.
Very good. Any questions or comments from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to thank the applicant for working with us. He removed the 8 technical items, and as we discussed, the landscape and is in position. And I think if you look at sheet L100, it looks great. And with that, I'll make a motion to accept as submitted.
We have a motion to accept as submitted. Do we have a second? We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Motion passes. Moving on to the next item, number 4. Site plan requested by Civil and Environmental Engineering Services, LLC, for a building addition to the Laverne Supermercado store, property located at 410 Dick Buchanan, tax map 014, Group A, parcel 14, I-1 Light Industrial Zoning District, property owned by Mark Hunter. Mr. Logan.
Thank you. This applicant is here again this month. They were here in September and had several items to address last month, and happy to report this month they have addressed all those technical items, but unfortunately they ran into a bump tonight at the Boza, and that's related to their parking requirements. They're showing about 49 spaces they need, approximately 62, so they're about 13 spaces short, and so they were, before the Boza tonight, I think the vote was 2-2, so they ended up having to defer, but there are no other technical items on the site plan, but I believe they would have to have a positive vote from Boza before they could proceed with the site plan. So it's my understanding they will come back next month to Boza, and hopefully there'll be 5 members present.
So they're asking for a deferral on our board to go back to Boza. Is there someone here from this project that could step to the podium? And your address, sir? Thank you, sir. I understand what Mr. Logan has said, that you deferred your Board of Zoning Appeals meeting till next month, so would you like to defer with us as well? I think there's a couple of items with Boza that Boza wanted you to address. And go ahead and handle all that. And we'll get one more workshop in prior to our next meeting, so we'll address everything at the workshop as well. So we're in a formal deferral. Thank you very much. We'll be moving on to the next item, which will be number 7. Final plat request by Ahmed Omar for a minor subdivision, property located at 143 Elm Street, tax map 017M, Group C, parcel 23, R2 Residential Single Family Zoning District. Mr. Logan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On behalf of the client, Civil and Environmental Engineering Services is requesting, excuse me. I'm on the
Number
wrong-
7, sir.
Sorry about that.
No problems.
This is Mr. Ahmed Omar, and he is requesting final plat approval for a minor subdivision. This is located at 143 Elm Street, and there's no preliminary plat required because it is a minor subdivision, and there's no new roads or infrastructure being planned. The property is zoned R2, and 10,000 square foot minimum lot size, and they do meet that. I think there were 26 comments from staff in September, and so that has been whittled down to 7. Those 7 are shown on your report. The most important ones of those 7 have to do with sewer, and I met with Kyle Brown again today at 11 to go over all these items, and we discussed the fact that there's no sewer shown along Finch Branch, and that's very important to show that. They show the sewer in the street on the other side of the property, but they're not showing along Finch. And if this got subdivided, then that would necessitate a private easement for sewer service that would cross Lot 2 to benefit Lot 52. So that's not on the plat, and then they would need to add a note that explains the private sewer easement. And those are number 5, 6, and 7 in your reports.
Thank you, sir. Is there a representative for this project here this evening? State your name and address for the record, sir.
Ahmed Omar, 301 John Henry Drive, Laverne, Tennessee.
Thank you, sir. Have you received a copy of these items?
No, not yet.
Okay, we'll make sure you get a copy before you leave. I don't have an extra copy myself. Mr. Logan, do you have a copy? Or?
Yeah, you can take it. Why don't you just take that one now? And obviously, we still have 7 items that are still outstanding. And just take a look at those, and just if you want to discuss anyone, we can. But at the moment, there's still several items need to be addressed. Do you want to take a look at that list?
Because all of them not done yet.
They're not done.
They're not.
They're not in compliance.
Because somebody's doing for me, I'm not sure. Like, he said he did all of them.
He's saying he's done all of them.
Might want to talk to him.
You may want to defer this evening, come back to workshop so that we
Okay.
can clear these items. Would you like to formally defer, and
Okay.
then we'll address it at workshop next
Yeah.
month?
That's fine.
Perfect, sir. Well,
You know what day is it? Because
next month's meeting is,
I believe it's the last Tuesday, same as this month. Is that the 28th of November?
The workshop. will be
Workshop, sir.
2 weeks
14th.
prior to that,
14th.
okay,
so the 14th and 28th.
okay, thank you.
We'll see you on the 14th, sir. Thank you. Very good. Moving on to the next item. First item under new business, number 8. Site plan request by Will Crunk for 1299 Bridgestone Parkway, property located at 1299 Bridgestone Parkway, tax map 017, parcel 28.08, I-2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District, property owned by Haynes Publication, Inc. Mr. Logan.
Thank you. This site plan request is from Will Crunk, and the site is currently owned by Haynes Publications. They were at the previous meeting tonight, at the Boza meeting, and they were seeking a yard variance. And the area of disturbance, the total area disturbance is .89 acres, and It is an unusual site because it's sandwiched between Heil Quaker and Bridgestone. So that created an issue of what's the front, what's the side, what's the rear of the building, which is why it had to go to BOZA. And let's see, it does include one parcel, and that was it. There was not all the technical comments have been addressed on this site.
Very good. And the Board of Zoning Appeals granted the approval, correct? Mr. Logan? Thank you, sir. That's a yes. Thank you.
They did.
And any questions or comments from the board?
Chair, I appreciate the applicant working with us on this, to get it where I think we need to be. And so with that, I'll make a motion to accept as submitted.
We have a motion to accept as submitted. Do we have a second?
Second?
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Our next item of business, site plan request by Chet Rhodes for Car Pros Auto Sales, property located at 5397B Murfreesboro Road, tax map 018B, Group B, parcel 14.05, C2 Highway Service Zoning District, property owned by Magdi Loza. Mr. Logan.
Thank you. There's not a lot to say about this item. I know the owner appeared 2 weeks ago, and at that time, there was not enough information on the site plan to review it. So I remember that this body informed the applicant of that, and they were going to follow up, and I have not received any word at all on the project.
Very good. Is there anyone here for representing this property? With that, I will open the floor to the board. Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, we just discussed at the workshop, and still a little bit disappointed that that they didn't come to us or come with didn't address any of the items that we have suggested, and obviously been very disappointed of not performing as they said they would perform, and with open technical items and them not being here.
And we have had no formal request for deferral, Mr. Logan. Thank you, Mr. Coates.
With that, I'll make a motion to deny the site plan as submitted.
We have a motion.
Due to the open technical items per section 3-110 alpha.
We have a motion to deny as submitted due to outstanding technical items. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Our next item, number 10, concept plan, Mason Road Business Center, requested by Kimley Horn, property located on Mason Road, tax map 17, parcel 11, I-2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District, property owned by David Ingram. Mr. Logan.
Thank you. This is a concept plan being submitted for the Mason Road Business Park, and it's located on approximately 110 acres, and it is zoned I-2. The applicant's proposing to realign Mason Road and take out the many curves that are in it, and then widen it and build it to city standards. And then also they're proposing to take Bain Drive, which connects with Waldron, and bring Bain in, and I think it would be a T intersection for one of those roads. So in addition, there's 3 conceptual buildings indicated on the parcels that are west of Mason Road, and together these 3 buildings total over 500,000 square feet, about 530,000 of new industrial space. And I believe Panatone is the owner or the developer for all of this. So there's 6 items listed on the report for the concept plan, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Very good, sir. Thank you. Is there a representative from Kimberly Horn to discuss this? If you would state your name and address for the record, sir.
Brendan Bowles with Kimley Horn and Associates, 9003 Winlock Lane.
Very good. Have you received a copy of these?
Yes,
Item.
just prior to the meeting tonight.
Would you like to come back to workshop so we can address those, and do you want us to vote?
We would prefer to stay on the agenda and gain approval from the board tonight. We did follow up after we were at the workshop 2 weeks prior to this meeting and met again with city staff to talk through some of these comments. I'd be glad to address each one specifically with you tonight. Our preference is to gain approval for the concept plan and the following item, the preliminary plat.
Very good. Traditionally, with outstanding items, technical items, we like to defer because generally the votes don't go satisfactory for the customer.
Okay, some of the technical items we've agreed to. We provided a response letter to staff saying that we agreed to them. I know the sidewalk issue is still out there, which we'd be glad to continue to discuss. But the comments on the concept plan themselves, there's nothing that we have not agreed to, and we're willing to talk about the sidewalks again tonight to get to that resolution.
With that, I'm going to open the floor to the board, and
If there's any of the technical items, sorry, Mr. Coates.
Yes, so you say you wrote a letter to the city addressing 5 of the 6, is that what you're indicating?
We attempted to address all of the items. We responded in writing to city staff addressing all of their comments.
Mr. Logan, have a comment about that, or have you seen the letter?
I think what he's saying is just the general letter that every applicant turns in that says, hey, we've done this. I don't know. We had a meeting with Kyle Brown, and I will say this is, it's difficult for me tonight to see this item because I'm not an engineer. Right. And Kyle had some comments, and so I feel, I'm not gonna speak for Kyle.
Understand.
And I don't feel comfortable with it, and so I can't take these items off, and that's the best I can do. I mean, I'm still new in this job too, so please remember that.
I understand. Well, I mean, obviously, I understand, but as the chairman mentioned, historically, with open technical issues still not been fully addressed, whether as far as you're saying that you have and they haven't. For us, in our position, if you don't want to defer, we're required by state statute to vote one way or the other. Historically, with open items that have not been clearly addressed by the city staff, historically, the vote is not good for the applicant.
We don't want to be denied tonight for our concept plan.
Okay.
If I could get some clarity on some of the technical items as it relates to the concept plan submittal from the board or from staff, then that's what we need to move forward.
absolutely, and not only will we have another workshop prior to the next meeting if you end up deferring this evening, but Mr. Brown will be able to address these items appropriately.
Yeah,
Just
I would like to elaborate. We had a meeting, I think a week ago, but this applicant has a lot of sewer questions, and I don't know anything about the sewer. That's not, planners don't cover sewer, other than saying it's on the plan. I'm not an engineer. That's who handles sewer. So Mr. Brown in our meeting said, you know, because there's a letter floating around that says that there's capacity issues with this branch of the creek. But in that meeting, I know Mr. Brown said it's possible, if it takes 2 or 3 years to build this out, that some of those sewer improvements, you know, they're going to be working in tandem. So some of these sewer improvements may be ready when they're ready, but, you know, I don't need to be the one speaking on that. I understand it, but I don't, you know.
Okay. With that being said, with a project this size and the amount of square footage that you're going to be building, and it's a very large project, I think it'd be appropriate to come back to workshop. Let's get all this worked out. Let's get everything perfect on this, just due to the size of the project. I personally am not going to lean on the sidewalks. I'm going to insist that sidewalks are put in on any new road construction in the city, so.
And that's, we were, you know, when we came here last week, for the workshop, we certainly understand the city's position. It's just when the subdivision regs say one thing and we're asked to do another, where it gets a little bit confusing for us. We're just trying to make sure.
Absolutely, and it's my understanding, left to our discretion for the request of the sidewalks. Anyone can correct me if I'm wrong. So we've leaned more towards making sure sidewalks go in our city when we can put them in, because it's a necessity and a way of life these days. And doing a very large road, and it needs to be very nice in the end, so.
Okay.
That's one thing.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, it's always been at the discretion of the board on that, and years ago, this board was known for fee in lieu of. But as we approached our capacity, and as we're still growing, we're probably going to top around 42,000 when we do our census. We can no longer go with children or whomever walking up and down the banks on the side of the road. We're asking for sidewalks for everyone. It's not just your project, every project. If they're building, they're going to have sidewalks. And at a later point, when we get into our discussions with the board of mayor and aldermen, I'll definitely bring that up so that we can have that removed from the ordinance, so that in lieu of is no longer a distraction.
I think, I was gonna say, Pantone is willing to agree to build the sidewalks as necessary to do it. We were hopeful that maybe we could agree to build them on one side of the street, since that's where our development is occurring with this first phase. And then, do payment in lieu of on the other side of the street if that was an option. That was the only thing we would like to request from this committee as an option.
I would say appropriately, this being the main meeting, that's something that needs to be discussed in workshop.
Yeah.
And thank you for putting it out there. That will give us something to think about. But at this point, I'm going to assume that you're leaning towards a deferral for this evening.
Yes, we would prefer to defer.
Well, we're going to defer this, and we'll see you at workshop, and hopefully you'll have those items addressed before workshop.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we will be moving on to number 11. Preliminary plat, Mason Road Business Center, request by Kinley Horn, property located on Mason Road, tax map 17, parcel 11, I-2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District, property owned by David Ingram. Mr. Logan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Similar to the last request, this is still the Mason Road Business Center, and this plat does propose to create 5 new lots on roughly 110 acres. And the largest lot would be a little over 69 acres. And these are the pictures that were taken for the workshop, and that show Mason Road. Under the technical items, there's 3 items listed. Again, sidewalks are an issue, and same as item before. And then the public improvements was note 3, and that includes the water, the sewer, and all the streets. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Sir, if you'd step back to the podium for me for 1 second. State your name and address.
Brendan Bowles, Kimley Horn, 9003 Winlock Lane.
Thank you, sir. And you've received a copy of these
Yes.
3 items? And once again, we'll discuss at workshop. You'd like to?
We'd like to defer the plat to be heard at the same time as the concept plan.
Very good. Thank you, sir. We'll see
Yes.
you at workshop. That item being deferred, and our final 2 items being deferred as well. Bonds and letters of credit.
Yeah, this is, let's see, 12 was deferred. So 13 is the Ridge preliminary plat. The
Oh,
Ridge-
I'm sorry. I put a deferral down on that. Let me read that one, sir.
Okay,
12 is deferred, 13, correct?
we're on 13, yes.
Preliminary plat, The Ridge, Phase 3, requested by Womble and Associates, property located off Sweet Maple Knoll, tax map 032, parcel 2.06, R2 Medium Density Residential Zoning District, property owned by B&F Ventures. My apologies, B&F Ventures. Mr. Logan.
Thank you. So this is, on behalf of their client, Womble and Associates is requesting preliminary plat approval for Phase 3 of the Ridge. And this portion of the Ridge constitutes 73 single-family lots on 31 acres. And the smallest proposed lot is 10,050 square feet, and the largest lot is almost 18,000 square feet. And included in the plat proposed are 5 new public roads, and all of those roads will be interior public roads, and all technical items have been addressed. Thank you.
Very good. Questions or comments from the board?
I have a couple of questions for the engineer, if he's available.
If the engineer is available, you can step to the podium and state your name and address for the record, sir.
Danny Womble, 40 Milton Street, Nashville, Tennessee.
Just a couple of questions. You are putting sidewalks on both sides of the street?
Yes,
Good deal. And we know we discussed the workshop, but on lot 347, we can get a building on there without any issues?
yes, I verified that, correct.
And the open lot between 344 and 343, is that part of the, what do you call it, open area?
Yes, that's part of the open space.
Okay. And just another comment, on the two future development lots, have you any idea what's going to go in there as a matter of interest?
There'll be future lots when the adjacent property is developed.
Good deal. That, all the items been addressed. Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion, accept as submitted.
We have a motion to accept. Do we have a second?
Second?
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Now, number 14, bonds and letters of credit. Mr. Logan.
Thank you. I have a handout that Mr. Brown left with me. I'll give that to you all. But I don't have any report on it. Thank you.
Thank you. That being said, call this meeting adjourned.